All right, so earlier this week, you were asked to take a look at different task cards and identify whether it was a perimeter problem or if it was a problem that required you to calculate the area. So you went through these cards, and here's your cards right here. You went through them and said, okay, A, I have to find area, and B, I need to find perimeter, right? And you submitted your answers. So today we're going to take a look at solving these problems from the start into the finish and how you calculate and use that calculation to apply it to the question. All right, so let's take a look at the first example. So my oldest daughter has been dying to paint her entire room pink. So we came to a consensus and I agreed to paint one of her rectangular walls pink. So the wall to be painted measures 15 feet long and 8 feet high. So that it looks nice, we're going to need to put 2 coats of paint on the walls. And the paint expert at the store told me that I will need 1 gallon of paint to cover about 300 square feet of surface. So my question that I'm trying to find in the end is italicized here at the end of the question. Will 1 gallon of paint be enough? So that's going to be my application question. So looking from start to finish, the first thing that I encourage you to do, and actually in your task cards, there is a visual for you. So you won't actually have to do this step, but I encourage you to look at it and picture what's really going on in the scenario. So again, in my house, I have a rectangular wall in my daughter's room that I'm going to paint. My problem tells me here that my measurements are 15 feet long, and that wall is 8 feet high. Now, looking at what am I actually calculating if I'm looking at paint measure. Now, so again, I want you to kind of visualize what is going on. So I would be in my daughter's room and I would be painting the entire wall, not just around the outside, the entire wall. So hopefully you should be able to identify that you're looking at calculating area. So when you're looking at area, we're using the operation of multiplication. So the first step would be to multiply 15 times 8 and actually find that area calculation. So 15 times 8, and again, you can get out a calculator if you need to. 15 times 8 gives you the square foot value of 120. And again, I'm looking at square feet. Now, I do need to paint the wall twice. So that's the first calculation, but I need to paint that wall twice in order for it to cover. So I'm not going to just paint it once for 120 square feet. I'm actually going to go back in and do a nice second coat so that it's good and dark and then I can't see any inconsistencies. So however you think about it, you might think in your head, all right, I'm going to paint 120 more square feet. So when I put those 2 paint coats together, I would be adding for a total of 240 square feet in my daughter's room. Oh, I guess you don't need both of those calculations there. We just have to put square or use that little 2. So it's 240 square feet total after I paint her room. So that's the calculated. Then my application question, and it's going to be the same for you guys on your task cards, is going to be the the italicized question at the end. So my question is, will 1 gallon of paint be enough? Well, according to my problem, the paint expert at my store told me that 1 gallon of paint is going to cover about 300 square feet, and I need 240 square feet. So the question is, will 1 gallon be enough? You should hopefully see that, yes, it will be. So yes, 1 gallon, excuse my writing here, is enough. So again, to apply it when I go to the store, I would only buy 1 gallon of pink paint. Okay, let's take a look at another example. So let's suppose Joan wants to order a wallpaper border to place around the top of the walls in the room shown below. So here's my figure, it is drawn for me. And just to kind of visualize and put myself in Joan's shoe, I would be putting wallpaper border around the top of the wall around my room. So looking at calculations, I should realize that that's perimeter. That's the distance around the room. And the operation we use is addition. So we would say 8 plus 5 plus 15 plus 12. And again, whichever way you work your way around the room is totally up to you. I usually work clockwise, starting at the top. So putting all those together, 8 and 5, 15 and 12, you get a total measurement of 40 feet squared. And I only want to do it once. It doesn't say anything about doing it more than once or needing more than that. So the entire perimeter around the top of her room is 40 feet squared. So that is my calculated, that is my answer. Looking at the application, again, it is the very last sentence italicized on your task card. And in this case, it's asking me if one roll of border is 50 feet long, how many rolls should I order? So if looking at that figure and looking, I only need 40 feet squared, you should realize that one roll would be enough. So how many rolls will the designer need to order? Your answer should be just one roll. Again, important in your real life, so you're not buying more or less than what you actually need. Okay, let's take a look at another example. So a remodeler charges $3.25 per square foot to refinish a wooden floor. How much would it cost to refinish a wooden floor that measures 30 feet by 18 feet? So again, to kind of put myself in those shoes and visualize it, I'm going to go ahead and draw a picture. I have a wooden floor that is 30 by 18 feet. And I'm talking about wooden floor. So I would be refinishing that wooden floor. So if I think about the wooden floor on ground, hopefully just even by drawing this, you should realize we're talking about the area. So that clues you in that we're going to multiply these two numbers together. So we're going to take 30 and we're going to multiply it by 18. And we get a total square footage of 540 feet. Again, we're only looking at the wooden floor. We're not doing it twice. It's just what is the square footage of that wooden floor? It's 540 square feet. Now the application here says that the remodeler is going to charge $3.25 per square foot, and we want to know how much it's going to cost to refinish that wood floor. So hopefully from years past and looking at keywords, this word per, it's $3.25 per foot. We have 540 feet. So we would use the operation of multiplying. Per means to multiply. So for the apply it part, we're going to come down here and multiply $3.25 times 540 square feet. So 325, don't forget the decimal, important in calculations, times 540, 1,755. Now we're talking about money, so you should put .00 because we've talked about, and a lot of you were in last year's class of math principles, where we talked a lot about practical math and consumer math. And answers that are referring to money should have a decimal and with two numbers to the right of it, because that's how money is expressed. So in this case, how much would it cost if you're charged $3.25 per square foot? $1,755. Okay, last example here. So let's suppose that Mark needs to buy new window framing for the Windows office porch. Using the measurements shown in the picture, how many centimeters of wood will he need to buy for 3 windows? So here's the picture that we have here on the right. And he is going to be framing. So again, just to kind of draw on it and make you visualize it, framing is on the outside. It's the wooden part on the outside border of a window. So that should clue you in that we're looking for perimeter. Now, kind of going back to our practice with perimeter, remember we talked about that we need to add up all the sides. So we're going to add 90 plus 40, but we also need the measurements for the other side and the top. Now, given that's a standard window, you can assume that it's a rectangle. And just like we did before in the standard calculation practice, we would fill in those missing numbers. So be careful, and I think pictures really do help you to not forget those important facts or overlook it. But we would need to add 2 lengths and 2 widths. So putting those all together, we would know the distance around that window is 260 centimeters around. So that's our find it calculation. Now, it also says that he needs 3 windows. So if I go to the apply it section, again, highlighted, or I'm sorry, italicized here at the end, how many centimeters of wood will he need to buy for 3 windows? So you can think of it 2 ways. Repeated addition, 260 is 1 window, 260 for the second window, 260 for the third window, and add those up. The other way, and the quicker way to think about it, is repeated addition is the same as multiplying. So we could take that 260 and multiply it by 3 windows. Either way, guys, if you like the first way and relate to it a little bit more, completely okay. Either way you do it, you would find the answer of 780 centimeters. And we're talking about perimeter, so it's just centimeters, not centimeters squared. So in this problem, the applying was to multiply by 3. All right, so for today's activity, I would like for you to solve and then apply your answer to the real life question that you're being asked. You're going to be working with those same task cards, which now have been separated by calculation type. So you're going to get on your worksheet. Here's the snapshot of the first section. So it's going to be categorizing the cards for you. So you can see how well you did yesterday. So problem B, we did together, and you should have gotten it right on your practice activity earlier this week. But it's going to tell you all the cards that are in perimeter, and it's going to be listed in order. So you're going to go through and you're going to calculate the perimeter. Then you're going to go and you're going to apply it again to that italicized question found on the card. So once you calculate the perimeter for this one, then you're going to apply it. How many miles is he going to do in a week? Use that calculation to make sense of what you're trying to solve. And then once you solve those perimeter problems, then there's going to be, I'm going to skip over to area. And similar thing. Those cards are going to be organized for you so that you can tell whether or not you were able to identify the problem cards that you need to calculate area. So then you're going to go through and you're actually going to calculate the area, length times width. And if you notice at the top, it reminds you, hey, the definition, it's when you're looking at these problems, we're looking at calculating the inside space of this figure. And we're going to calculate it by multiplying up all the sides of the shape. So it does give you those hints at the top if you forget. And then once you find your area, you're going to apply it. And again, you're looking at the italicized portion of the task card. It's going to tell you what kind of question or how you use that information to answer. So this one, we're asking you, which one should you purchase if we're looking at tarps to cover a pool? All right, so you're going to have problems again for area and for perimeter. So you should be hopefully on the right track to calculate the appropriate area or perimeter value, and then go ahead to apply it to the question. Please reach out if you need any help. Good luck. If you have any problems with calculating, applying it, or even with submitting the assignment, I'm always willing to help you, and I will help you troubleshoot through any of the problems that you have. So good luck, and again, reach out if you need help.